Hello everyone, back with a small update haul video. I've only got 3 titles, though they were quite expensive. So yeah, I basically budgeted, well, for 2 of these. One I've been looking for years. It's a bit of like a grail, they call it. Um, yeah, since it first came out, it went out of print. Never really seen it in a CEX or anything. Then seen it today, so I got it. Quite expensive, but happy with it. But yeah, I'll show those when I get to it, and then I will. Um, Basically, one of them is a cat-free movie. So anyone that doesn't know, category free. It's a bit like a video nasty, but from Hong Kong. So I think during like the 90s, early 2000s, they, unlike in say Britain, where you've got Universal, I think it used to be UC, which was specially for children, but Universal, anyone can watch it, not be scared. PG, obviously parental guidance. Then you've got 15 and 18. I think in America has it slightly different with like NC-17, and then R rating, which has usually got like pornographic material or something. But yeah, Hong Kong, not sure if they have like PG and U and things like that, but I think in the higher echelons of rankings, they have Cat 1, 2, and 3. And obviously, Cat 3 being the highest, usually contains some bad language, not just bad, but a lot of like racism and bigotry, basically. I think that's probably the reason people get most upset about it nowadays, getting it cancelled. It's getting upset over what's said in it. Obviously, it has a lot of gore, sexual content. Um, yeah, kind of what's the word? Controversial storylines, I guess. So yeah, say something like Human Centipede, crap film. Me and my mate laughed all the way through it. I think it's meant to be disturbing, but it's just funny. But obviously, the concept is really original. The concept's kind of stronger than the film. So yeah, with Human Centipede, I guess say the concept is quite disturbing when you talk about it, but the film doesn't pay it off. Whereas yeah, some of these have quite a messed up concept and then go far beyond paying it off. But yeah, I'll talk about those at the end. I've not got too many of them, but I thought I'll show the ones I've got so far, in case anyone's interested. I know Marcus is collecting his category 3 films. But yeah, let's get on first. Well, talking of category 3, I've got this one, Devil Fetus. So yeah, you can probably tell by the name what kind of thing you're in store for. So again, even if this didn't have too much bad language and gore and stuff, I guess the fact it's about devil fetus, embryo coming back for revenge kind of thing, it's going to upset some people. A bit like the video nasty, sometimes the title, Driller Killer or Cannibal Ferox, Cannibal Holocaust, although those films do actually have the messed up content, I guess, yeah, Mary Whitehouse and some people heard the name of certain films and just thought, this is going to be controversial. Don't want people watching this, regardless of how well the content was done. And yeah, those are actually quite disturbing, say Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox. Whereas yeah, some you hear the title and it doesn't really pay off. They just got in a furore over the title. So I'm guessing this is probably the same. Devil Fetus and Cat 3. Hopefully there's like a documentary or something included on one of these releases eventually, going over the history of Cat 3. So I know a bit about it, but I don't really know the political aspects as to when they were being released, whether they just got categorized as that and that was the end, or whether Hong Kong were kicking off and the government were trying to get it banned. Like in the video nasties, they were literally saying if children watch this, they're going to go out and murder people. They just created, I think there was basically a lot of problems going on in society, and rather than admit it was Thatcher's government ruining the UK, it's easier to say, the problems are all coming from the youth watching violent films rather than the actual political climate and things. But yeah, Devil Fetus, don't know too much about this, but I'm obviously trying to get all the category 3 films. It's a special limited edition big box set from 88 films, $24.99. I think it only comes on Blu-ray. Don't think it's got a 4K or anything. I'll read the synopsis just so people know what kind of thing I say they're getting in for. Not sure if people would be interested in watching this, but at least I'll warn you in case you are. Devil Fetus, it has returned. A decade after Cheng Shu-Ching was possessed and killed by a demon, it comes back to claim the rest of her family in the most unpleasant ways possible. The only way to defeat it is with traditional Taoist magic, but that will prove harder than they realise. a maximalist Hong Kong horror in the tradition of The Boxer's Omen and Black Magic. That might be 2 more category 3. Obviously, there's loads of them that haven't been released. Dr. Lamb, one of the most famous ones, just doesn't have a region 2 release, so if it does, it's very expensive kind of import. Devil Fetus blends extreme imagery with esoteric lore for something a bit wilder than Western horror movies. 88 Films are proud to present a true classic of Asian fantasy cinema on Blu-ray for the first time in the UK. So yeah, obviously there's an 18 sexual violence. I think it's 92 minutes. The 2K restoration. I don't know if you can see any of the images on the back. I know it's a bit glary. A bit too much glare. But yeah, as you can probably tell by the title, Devil Fetus, if anyone's offended by abortions and things. Obviously, America trying to make that illegal in every state, so I'm sure Donald Trump would hate this. Yeah, Devil Fetus, $24.99, came out today on 88 Films. Be interesting to see what that one's like. This one I've been waiting for a long time, so I think you can get a Blu-ray of it, but I only had it on the DVD. Always enjoyed the DVD version, but yeah, expecting now it's jumped up to 4K to be a much better picture. Is the Innkeepers. It's like the big box set. So yeah, you can get the standard. I think the standard Blu-ray is about 18. I think the standard 4K is about 27, just for that sort of one. I don't think it's a cardboard kind of one that you get in here. I think it's a plastic. You know, everybody probably knows the standard second sight release in like the black case. So yeah, I think it's about 27 for the sort of standard 4K. So an extra 13. Get all these bits. Yeah, obviously I don't pick up all second sight films releases on these, what they call like special edition, limited edition. Nice Guys came out, Blair Witch, Talk to Me, yeah, a few that I just don't really like them as films, or I've got a standard version, I'm happy with that because I don't love them. So yeah, it's not like I get all of them, but with films I really like. Yeah, out of this, The Sacrament and House of the Devil, which were Ty West's 3 older films. Then obviously more recently he's done X, Pearl, then Maxine. Yeah, out of the 3 originals, I think this is my favourite. Really like the sort of setting in the, is it called the Smugglers? Doesn't tell me on the back here, but yeah, I think it's called the Smugglers Retreat. It's meant to be a really haunted inn/hotel. Yeah, really creepy setting. Really like Sarah Paxton in it. Not just a good actress, but very attractive. I think she was also in the remake of The Last House on the Left. But yeah, she's better in this. Yeah, just really creepy, kind of slow burn. Probably not for everyone, but most people I know have watched it have really enjoyed it. So yeah, I think now they've released all 3. Ty West, I've got House of the Devil, The Sacrament, and this one now all on these big box sets. So unless they do the X trilogy, which is more recent, then shouldn't have to be spending any more money getting these. But yeah, it comes with like postcards, I always call them, art cards, a big booklet, and then the the Blu-ray and the 4K, I think. But yeah, the Innkeepers. Sorry, that's probably. Let me see if I can get it without any glare. It's obviously getting the reflection of my phone. See if I can block it. Oh, yeah, I think that's the best you're going to get it. I don't know if you can see creepy ghost lady lurking in the background. The Innkeepers. Right, and then yeah, that's the only 2 ones I bought from HMV earlier. I think there was a few other releases. I thought Texas Chainsaw Massacre Remake was out today, but they didn't have it there. And Matt, guy I always talk about, really sound guy that works there, looked on the computer and things. Doesn't seem to be out, so maybe it was just released in the US. Whereas they did have Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Beginning, which is kind of like a remake prequel, which I didn't mind, quite good, but I got it on DVD. I don't watch it too often, so I'm not going to pay $25 to upgrade that. Whereas, yeah, I probably would have got the, I think it's the Michael Bay remake. I think there's been a few reboots over the years. If anyone hasn't seen it, JodiesMovieRealm's done like a really good ranking video of all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. And, yeah, I haven't seen it in years, The Beginning. But she talks about them in more detail. She's obviously seen them more recently than I have. So, yeah, really good video. Link her down below. Go and watch that. Very interesting. I think she was off on holiday, so she watched like 7 of them in one day. So probably a bit burnt out of chainsaws. But, yeah, I probably would have got the 4K of correct me if I'm wrong, it might be produced by Michael Bay, but I think it's Michael Bay directed. Must be about 2002, early 2000s remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Would have been 25 on 4K. Kind of glad they didn't have it in a way because it saved me a bit of money. But yeah, found this one in CEX. One I've been looking for a long time. It's the collector's set of Cujo. So it's £30, which is quite expensive. It's on Eureka, which is a really good label. But yeah, when this first came out, I think maybe it was during COVID. I think at the time I was on furlough, and wasn't really getting enough money to pay the bills and stuff. But I couldn't really be spending much on films at the time. So when this came out, probably knew it was about 25 or so, just couldn't afford it. And then not only did it go out of print really fast and up in price, but my mate who was trying to get one at the time, he had his own business, so he was still working through COVID, so I think he could afford it. And not only, like I said, went out of print fast, but he was angry because a lot of what they call scalpers were getting hold of it. So, say it's a limited edition, the scalpers would somehow buy 10 of them or something online, and then they'd be selling it on eBay literally the next day as soon as it went out of stock for 100, 200 quid. And it held that price for a long time, so I never thought I'd get it. I thought, even if I'd seen it in CEX, they'd probably be charging 80 quid or so. So Second Sight Films, The Blair Witch Project, The Guest, I think the original The Witch by Robert Eggers, a few others I can't think of off the top of my head. You're looking 80 or 100 secondhand for those where they're just out of print. So yeah, 30 ain't too bad when it was worth more than this about 5 years ago. Yeah, it must have come out, let me see if it tells me the year. Obviously, 1983, the film's made. This version, I'm guessing it's 2015. Nah, it must have been more recent than that. Sorry, that's just a documentary on disc 2. COVID started 2019, so let's say this came out 2020. Obviously, straight away, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it because it just gone out of print and turned that rare. But, yeah, let's say a year after that, I've been looking in CEXs. So yeah, I've been looking for it for at least 4 or 5 years. Literally never seen it in a local CEX. And if I did, I guess they can't really do cover reprints on these things. It's the one good thing about the limited edition. But yeah, I imagine if I had found it years ago, it'd probably been battered, dog-eared, no pun intended. Yeah, probably more rabid than the actual St. Bernard in this film. But yeah, sure, everybody knows Cujo. Not just a great creature feature. Film I've always loved but never owned, and would put it in my top 5 Stephen King adaptations. It was originally based on a Stephen King movie, I'm pretty sure. Based on the best-selling novel by Stephen King. But yeah, the dog in this is amazing. The training and that they get him to do. Such a tense film. The scene in the car with Dee Wallace and her son, and they're obviously trapped in a hot car. I'm sure this isn't a spoiler. I won't say much more than that. But yeah, they're trapped in a hot car for a while, with the windows up, and you can just feel the heat. You can see every single bead of sweat on Dee Wallace's face and body. Yeah, it's just a really visceral kind of film, really believable. Some of these monsters are coming, aliens, ghosts, the Loch Ness Monster. I don't believe in any of that, whereas a rabid dog trapping somebody in a kind of rural, isolated homestead, I guess you call it, is believable. A dog could get rabies. Obviously, it's showing the bat on the front because he sticks his face in I think he's chasing a rabbit, and then he sticks his face in this little cave or a log and gets bit by a rabid bat, basically, and turns nasty. Sure, I've been in those Cujo, yeah, an absolute classic. Yeah, not even owned this on DVD or anything before, so glad to finally own it. Last time I watched it was about 5 or 6 years ago on my illegal Cody box. Yeah, so I thought I'd quickly show these, as for me that's quite a short video at 13, 14 minutes. So yeah, the category 3 I've got so far all on 88 films. So you've got Devil Fetus, Holy Virgin versus the Evil Dead. Kind of really more of a martial arts film, but does have a lot of nudity, a lot of gore, as it says on the back, strong language, violence, injury detail, sexualized violence and sex. Only a 15 though. So how that was category 3 out of 15, you'd think they were that explicit and, got dumped into a category 3, they'd all be 18 kind of ranking. I think most of them are, or don't really have a rating, but yeah, to be fair, that is one of the tamer. It's more about crazy kung fu and some ghost guy flying around ripping out people's hearts. But I guess because it's a martial arts film, it doesn't hit as hard as a horror. Yeah, I've seen some martial arts films that are really gory, but because it's sort of fighting, it's done in a bit of a cheesier kind of way, I guess, so maybe it didn't offend as many people, whereas I'm sure this one would. Her Vengeance. 18, again on 88 films, category 3. Haven't actually watched this one yet. Gonna watch it soon. I think me and Marcus from Explorer 2708 are planning on doing a watch along together because we both own it. Then you've got the erotic ghost story trilogy. So again on 88 films, category 3. Is it 88 films? I think it is. Yeah, as you can see, it's got the 3 separate discs in there I like, where some of them, not so much discs, sorry, cases, where some of them will sort of do it and it's all in a box that opens out, and each one's got like, sometimes they don't even have their own case to go in, they'll just be clipped in like a little, trying to see if I can find one to show you, I won't take that much time, but yeah, some of them will basically have a box and then it's just got slots for the discs to go in, whereas, yeah, if you're going to do a big box, then I like it when they give you 1 disc on each. I've only seen part 1 so far, quite insane. When I first got this, I think I remember saying on the video, I was like, is it the ghosts that are going to be erotic? Because that's a bit weird. But no, the ghosts are flying around, but it's like the human ladies that have nudity and things. But yeah, I mean, it's quite explicit. It does show full frontal nudity. Not too often. It's not too gory. Yeah, I guess this one's more for the sexual content. Although I haven't seen 2 and 3. Maybe they ramp up and get more insane. Yeah, I mean, it does have gore and swearing and things like that, but yeah, I think it's quite sort of pornographic is probably the reason this one got put into category 3. This one is the one I had in mind when I was talking about it's not always the gore and the imagery, sometimes it's the language and stuff, it's the Ebola syndrome. So yeah, it's not just the premise of this, I guess, is quite controversial, where basically this guy gets the Ebola virus and then he's immune to it. So he goes around trying to spread it to as many people as possible. It's a lot of gore, but yeah, it's a bit when they... I mean, I say it's discriminatory, but everybody gets it. It's not really focusing on any minorities. There's a bit where at first I think they're in South Africa for a while, and they're basically... These guys are from Hong Kong. They're slagging off white people, English people, white South Africans, black people... Asians from other countries other than Hong Kong, and slag off Korea, China, Japan. Yeah, they kind of go in on everybody, a bit like, say, Family Guy, if anybody's watched that, or American Dad. You know, there's certain shows where I guess their logic is, if we go in on everybody, we can't get in trouble for singling out one minority. But yeah, I guess the premise of this, that a guy's basically using sex, not always consensual sex, should I say, to spread the virus around, loads of hateful, racist language. It has got the gore and the craziness to boot, but yeah, I think it's probably more the premise. I mean, it says here 18 sexual violence, strong bloody violence, gore, sex, and racism. So yeah, it's probably the racism that pushes it. But anything offensive you can think of is in that film. So if you're a bit of a snowflake, you're going to be offended. I mean, certain things in films, I wouldn't say offend me, but you know, I might hear some racist slur and think, oh, I should put that in the film. I'm not happy here, but I'm not going to switch it off and write a strongly worded letter to my local MP about it. This is another one that's kind of more the... don't get me wrong, it's got the gore and stuff as well, but I think the premise of this one, the untold story, I think it's also known as a human pork chop. Probably gives you a clue. So yeah, it's not just the premise that basically this guy, it's not a spoiler to say, it tells you on the back, is killing people and then putting them into these... buns, I guess they call them, little like pork buns, but obviously it's human flesh. But it's not just that makes it probably cat-free and quite disturbing to watch. It's the fact that he kills like children and things, and it is shown in graphic detail more than hardly any film. Not that makes sense. Sorry, more than nearly any film I've seen. You know, even when you think of some notorious films like Salo, a Serbian film, Martyrs, this probably shows more violence towards children in graphic detail than all of those. So yeah, I guess that's why. I mean, 18 sexual violence, strong bloody violence, threat and gore. Yeah, the untold story. Again, all of these on 88 films. This one, a bit more of a laugh, I would say. It's still got nudity, gore, insanity, but done in a bit more of a fun kind of way. It's Robotrix, I always call it. It might be Robotrix, I'm not sure. Yeah, I used to have the standard version, if I can get it. Just like this little case, and then I upgraded this one. Not a bad price, I think it's like 15 or so. So yeah, I passed the standard version on to Roy. So be interesting once Roy gets round to watch that. If anyone's seen Roy Blu-ray movies, Roy Barrett's shelf-by-shelf collection, then I think he's got 20,000 films to watch before he ever gets round to this. But yeah, this is, I think I've said a few times, a bit more like martial arts, Power Rangers, RoboCop, rolled into one with a lot more gore and violence, and I say full frontal nudity, it's really only their top halves and that you see, to be fair. But yeah, this is just insane. I mean, this is probably the least serious of all of them. This is a bit more of like a fun, silly romp. But it is still a category 3. And then this one is a category 3, but unlike the 88 films that have cat 3 all down the side, I got this one years ago as a Hong Kong Heroes release of Riki-Oh, The Story of Ricky. Crazy martial arts film where this guy is literally punching holes in people. It's an entertaining film, but without being too harsh, the effects are so bad that when he's punching holes in people, you just don't believe it. Some people would probably watch this and think, what a load of crap, and be like, this is badly made, I hate it, whereas I could see the humour and the sort of inventiveness and things in it. Yeah, it's not the best made film, but it's got some crazy bits where, like I say, he's punching holes in people. I think he like tears out a guy's heart, hits some guy, and it goes in slow motion and shows like an X-ray of his brain being shattered. It's yeah, probably the most, well, there was Shogun Assassin and Ichi the Killer, some of the most gory martial. I guess Ichi Killer isn't straight up martial arts, but there's a lot of fighting and slashing people up with a katana. But yeah, I'm thinking of getting the 88 films version. Sometimes you see it on offer or in CEX. Say that's about £8. Obviously, it's just in a bit more uniform with these. Got 88 films down the side, but the main reason I wouldn't usually pay to upgrade it to a different label, I'm thinking this is probably more expensive. Yeah, it's got 2 discs, a DVD, a Blu-ray, a nice booklet. Probably more collectible. I don't really ever see this one around. So yes, I look on CEX and they'll give me like £12 trade-in for this, and I can get the 88 films version on offer at CEX, or when they do 2 for 15, the equivalent of like £8, then maybe I will upgrade it to have it on the 88 films, just so it's a category 3. So yeah, all the ones that are available at the moment on 88 films, category 3 releases, I think I've got them all, but there are a couple more coming out soon. Hopefully they'll release like one a month, like they do with the Japaniki 88 film spin-off label. Yeah, Dr. Lamb, one I don't have. The 2 they said on the back of this, was it Devil? Boxer's Omen and Black Magic, guessing they're category 3. Yeah, I think there's like 20, 30, probably not as many of them as there is of the Video Nasties, which obviously had section 1 and 2, were about 100 with those, and then section 3 had about 80, but they're all ones that weren't prosecuted and dropped. And crazily enough, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was in that category and never actually what's the word, took to court, I guess, penalised as a section 1 or 2, which, you know, it probably is one of the hardest hitting, most, I wouldn't say it's disturbing, but it's just an overwhelming assault on the senses. And after I've watched it, it's so much shouting and that at the dinner table, I always found it quite like depressing and affecting. It's not really got that much gore and stuff, but it's realistic. But yeah, I don't think there's as many. I'm going to have to do some research in, really. But yeah, shame they're in a documentary or something. That's how I learned about most of the Video Nasties and all the background. It's from these 2 DVDs up there. The first one, if I'm pointing at the right one, does actually have like a 2-hour documentary. I think it's called Draconian Days, about all the furore over Video Nasties and how it all started, and how there was basically just a lot of lies and that coming from not just the government, but people that dealt with figures would basically cook the books, I guess, and make a figure where they're saying like every single child under the age of 9 in primary school has watched at least 15 Video Nasties within the last day or something. Yeah, just a lot of bullshitting going on. But yeah, not really sure how the public and the government reacted in Hong Kong to these cat 3. I guess they just got on with their lives rather than be busybodies overreacting over some bloody celluloid like happened in the UK. But yeah, I'll try and find out a bit more actually about these. But yeah, you'll probably see me picking up more of these in the future. Pretty much everyone that comes out I'm going to try and get. Yeah, so today I got Cujo, the Innkeepers Special Edition, and Devil Fetus. And then yeah, showed those. I will just briefly say Human Lanterns I thought was going to be category 3. Probably would be, but I think it's a Chinese film, not a Hong Kong one, so it wouldn't be branded in the same. And then this one, I kind of thought it was when I bought it, because I think at least 3 of these, definitely Ebola syndrome and An Untold Story by Herman Yao, who also does this Taxi Hunter. This is only a 15. Yeah, can't see it says category 3 anywhere on it. So still might be quite violent and crazy, but yeah, I don't really know what the check I've put it back in the right place. What the criteria is to be category 1, 2, or 3, whether it's got to have a certain amount of sex or the F-bomb a certain amount of times, I don't really know. Yeah, I'm not too up on what category 1, 2, and 3 are and what the difference is, but category 3 is the strongest, most explicit stuff, so that's what I like to collect. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching this. Yeah, that's pretty much all the category 3 releases on 88 films, and a few things I got today. And yeah, I'm going to have to look at rearranging this, because that Cujo, like I say, it's kind of been a bit of a grail I've been looking for years, so I'm going to put it up on display, maybe in place of Santa Sangra, which is a good twisted Mexican film by Alejandro Jodorowsky, but yeah, much prefer Cujo, so that will probably be going up behind my head in the next video. Right, thank you for watching everybody, bye.